Be me, Ryan, 25, standing barefoot in my kitchen at 6:43 in the morning, while my goth roommate holds up a pregnancy test like she's presenting Exhibit A to a jury. 2 lines, very visible lines. Mara looks at the test, then at me, then back at the test, just in case a third line has appeared with instructions. So, you did that. I point at her. I feel like there were 2 participants. I'm assigning blame. Fair. She puts the test on the counter, carefully, like it might explode if handled incorrectly. I'm pregnant. Yeah. With your baby. That was the part I was hoping we could verify before breakfast. Her eyes lift to mine. Mara has very dark brown eyes, almost black when she hasn't slept enough. Right now she looks like she hasn't slept since Tuesday. It is Saturday. Ryan. Yeah? I'm freaking out. And there it is, because Mara doesn't freak out. Mara once discovered a spider the size of a rental car in our bathroom and trapped it under my favorite cereal bowl without changing expression. Mara got rear-ended at a red light and responded by getting out, photographing both cars, exchanging insurance information, and coming home annoyed because the other driver had made her late for a horror movie. Mara watched a kitchen fire start at Mason's birthday party, grabbed the extinguisher before anyone else moved, put it out, and then asked whose idea it had been to let Mason cook. She doesn't freak out, at least not where anybody can see it. Right now she's wearing one of my old gray t-shirts, black shorts, and yesterday's eyeliner. Her hair is everywhere. One hand grips the edge of the counter. I walk over. Sit down. I don't want to sit down. Okay? I feel like if I sit down this becomes more official. Mara. What? You peed on a government-approved plastic oracle and got 2 lines. Sitting isn't what makes it official. She stares at me. Then, despite everything, the corner of her mouth moves. Government-approved plastic oracle? I'm under pressure. That's your best work under pressure? No. Give me coffee. She looks toward the machine, then at me, then down at the test. Oh. Yeah. I probably shouldn't. I'll make tea. I hate tea. You're having an excellent morning. Shut up. She finally sits at the kitchen table. I fill the kettle. My hands are steadier than they have any right to be. My head is not. My head is currently attempting to calculate 18 years of expenses while simultaneously remembering that I left laundry in the washing machine last night. Baby. There might be a baby. Our baby. Mara and mine. The same Mara who once refused to buy decorative pillows because, according to her, objects shouldn't exist solely to be thrown off furniture before use. I turn around. She's staring at the pregnancy test from across the room. How late? 11 days. My eyebrows go up. You waited 11 days? I'm irregular sometimes. Okay. And I thought it was stress. Okay. And then yesterday I nearly threw up because Danica heated fish in the office microwave. That seems like a normal response. She eats salmon at 9 in the morning, Ryan. Monster. I'm serious. So am I. Her mouth twitches again. Good. If she can insult coworkers, we're still operational. I put water on for her, then sit across from her. She rubs her thumb over one of the silver rings on her right hand. I know that habit. She does it when she's thinking too much. What do we do? She asks. We confirm it with a doctor. And then we talk. About everything. That sounds terrible. It does. She looks at me for a long second. You're taking this weirdly well. I'm not. You look fine. I'm having 17 separate emergencies. Name one. I just remembered babies need car seats. She blinks. That's your emergency? I don't own a car seat. Why would you own a car seat? Exactly. Already unprepared. She puts both hands over her face. A laugh escapes between her fingers. It's small, nervous, but it's a laugh. I reach across the table and touch her wrist. Her hands lower. Hey. She looks at me. We don't have to solve the next 20 years before 7 in the morning. Feels like we should. We can start with today. And today is? Call a doctor. Get another test if you want. Eat something. I'm not hungry. You're always hungry. Not now. Then I'll make something and you can steal mine. That gets an actual smile. You know me too well. Occupational hazard. She turns her hand under mine and catches my fingers. And that was how my Saturday started. No warning, No dramatic music. No conveniently timed thunderstorm outside. Just me, Mara, a kettle, and 2 pink lines sitting on the counter beside a bowl of bananas. To explain how I got my goth roommate pregnant, I should probably explain why I was sleeping with my goth roommate in the first place. That story starts about 14 months earlier. Back then, Mara was just the woman standing in my living room, looking at my apartment like she had been hired to identify structural weaknesses. My previous roommate, Chris, had moved in with his girlfriend. He gave me 12 days notice because apparently, love destroys your ability to read a lease. I could technically afford the apartment alone. I could also technically afford to set money on fire every month. Neither seemed smart. A mutual friend named Lily sent me a message. Got someone looking for a room. She's normal. I replied. Your definition of normal concerns me. Lily sent back. She has a job and won't steal your organs. Good enough. Mara arrived that Saturday, wearing black jeans, heavy boots, a faded Sisters of Mercy shirt, and enough silver jewelry to interfere with airport security. She had black hair just past her shoulders, pale skin, sharp eyeliner, and the expression of someone who had already decided the apartment probably sucked, but was willing to hear my defense. I opened the door. Mara? Ryan? That depends. Are you here about the room or to collect a debt? She looked me up and down. Room. Then Ryan. That got the tiniest smile. I liked her immediately. Not in the, I'm going to date my future roommate sense. Mostly. She stepped inside. Our apartment wasn't impressive. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen built sometime during humanity's war against counter space, decent living room, tiny balcony, rent that hadn't yet become a hate crime. Mara inspected everything. She opened the refrigerator. You clean this? Sometimes. Why? I enjoy not getting food poisoning. She looked inside again. There are vegetables. I've heard of them. She closed the door. Suspicious. Wait until you see the vacuum cleaner. She looked at the living room. Is it always this clean? No. I knew someone was coming to decide whether to pay half my rent. Honest. I'm trying something new. She checked the spare bedroom. It wasn't huge, but it had a decent closet and a window facing the courtyard. She stood there for a few seconds. How loud are you? Emotionally or physically? Both. Physically, moderate. Emotionally, repressed. Another little smile. Do you bring people over? Friends sometimes. Parties? Not here. Girlfriend? No. Boyfriend? No. Secret underground poker club? Thursday nights. She nodded. Fine as long as they clean up. I leaned against the doorway. What about you? What about me? Friends, parties, underground crime organizations? No parties. Boyfriend? No. Girlfriend? No. Crime organization? I can't discuss that. Professional. I respect it. She looked around the room again. When can I move in? Seriously? Unless you have 12 more candidates waiting outside. I had a guy yesterday who asked whether the balcony could support a motorcycle. Could it? I didn't ask. Coward. She moved in 6 days later. 3 boxes of clothes, 2 boxes of books, 1 computer, a record player, several framed prints she refused to call posters, a small collection of plants that all looked healthier than mine, and a black coffee mug with a cartoon bat on it. That was basically Mara. Compact, organized, dark, slightly threatening coffee equipment. The first month was easy, almost too easy. She paid rent early, cleaned up after herself, didn't play music loud, didn't invite random people over, didn't touch my groceries. At first. Then one Tuesday I made roasted potatoes and chicken. I put my plate on the counter, went back for water, returned, and found Mara standing beside it. She had a fork. My fork. 1 potato was missing. I looked at her. She chewed. What? That was mine. I'm aware. You have food. I wanted to know if yours was better. And? She took another potato. Yes. Get your own plate. I'm not hungry. You're actively eating. Sampling. That's theft with marketing. She took a third one and walked away. That became a pattern. Mara was never hungry. Mara simply happened to appear whenever I cooked. I'd be chopping onions. She'd materialize in the doorway. What are you making? Pasta. I already ate. Congratulations. 10 minutes later, she'd be sitting at the counter. I'm only having a little. Then half the garlic bread would disappear. Eventually, I stopped asking. I just made more. She noticed. You made extra. No. There are two stakes. One is emotional support. For who? Me, after you steal the first. She sat down. You're learning. The other thing I learned was that Mara liked company, but hated asking for it. At first, I thought she genuinely preferred being alone. She spent evenings in her room, headphones on, door closed. Sometimes I'd hear music, sometimes typing, sometimes nothing. She had coworkers she mentioned occasionally, a sister named Nora, who lived 40 minutes away, and Lily, our mutual friend. That seemed to be her entire social universe. Meanwhile, I had Mason. Mason came with people. He had the social structure of an expanding empire. If Mason invited you somewhere, you were going to meet at least 4 people whose names you'd forget before the appetizers arrived. One Friday, I was putting on my jacket when Mara came out of her room. She was wearing black jeans and an oversized hoodie. Going somewhere? Mason's. Party? More like 6 idiots ordering too much food and arguing about movies. Sounds terrible. It usually is. Have fun. Thanks. I grabbed my keys. She walked into the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, closed it, opened a cabinet. I watched her. She glanced over. What? Nothing. Why are you standing there? I'm thinking. Dangerous. You want to come? No. Okay. I opened the door. She looked at me. I waited. She looked down at herself, then back at me. How many people? Probably 8. Do I know any of them? Lily might be there. Maybe. You're wearing boots. I wear boots. And a jacket. It's cold. You're standing 6 feet from the front door. She narrowed her eyes. You're annoying. Shoes are already on. Saves time. I said maybe. Sure. 30 seconds later, she was following me downstairs. Mason opened his door, saw me, saw Mara, looked back at me. Oh. I knew that, oh. No. I didn't say anything. You were about to. Mara looked between us. Should I leave? Mason stepped aside. Absolutely not. Anyone willing to voluntarily spend time with Ryan deserves food. I live with him. Mason put a hand over his heart. My condolences. Mara walked in. I like this one. Of course you do. That night changed something. Not dramatically. Mara didn't suddenly become the center of the room. She spent the first 20 minutes mostly listening. Then Mason made the mistake of claiming Alien was better than The Thing. Mara looked up from her drink. No. Mason paused. No? No. That's your argument? For now. 20 minutes later, they were both standing near the TV debating practical effects, while Lily laughed from the couch. I sat there watching Mara talk with her hands. Actually talk. Not the clipped little sentences she used with strangers. She was funny when she forgot to guard herself. Dry, fast, mean in a way that somehow felt affectionate. When we left after midnight, she walked beside me with her hands in her hoodie pockets. You didn't tell me Mason was an idiot. I thought it would be a fun surprise. He thinks Aliens is better because there are more aliens. In his defense, there are more aliens. She stopped walking. Don't. Sorry. We continued. A minute later, she said, that was fun. I looked at her. She immediately added, don't make a thing out of it. I wasn't. You were about to. I was going to say I'm glad. That's making a thing. Fine. Miserable evening. Thank you. After that, I started inviting her. Not every time. Enough. And she started saying yes more often. Then she started asking what we were doing before I invited her. Subtle. One Saturday. What are you doing tonight? Going bowling. Why? To bowl. That sounds pointless. It's deeply pointless. With Mason? Yeah. And Lily? Probably. She nodded. Okay. I waited. She looked at me. I kept waiting. Finally, are you going to invite me? I wanted to see how long this took. She grabbed a couch cushion and threw it at my head. By month 4, she was part of the group. Mason loved her because she insulted him without mercy. Lily loved that her plan to find Mara a roommate had somehow expanded Mara's social life. I liked having her around for reasons I was beginning to examine with increasing concern. Mara was attractive. That wasn't exactly hidden information. I'd known that from the day she toured the apartment. But there's a difference between knowing your roommate is attractive and knowing the exact face she makes when she's trying not to laugh at something stupid you said, or knowing she hates the crust on toast but eats pizza crust, or knowing she reads in the living room when she wants company without conversation, or knowing she sleeps with one foot outside the blanket because she gets hot. That last one I learned because she started falling asleep on our couch, constantly. Movie nights were dangerous. She'd sit at the opposite end. Then somewhere around 40 minutes in, her legs would stretch across the cushions. An hour later, her feet would be against my thigh. Then she'd fall asleep. The first time it happened, I looked down at her. Black hoodie, hair partly covering her face. One hand still holding the edge of the blanket. I lowered the TV volume. 20 minutes later, she woke up, looked at me, looked at her feet. You could have moved. You looked comfortable. You're saying I trapped you. I considered chewing my leg off. She sat up. Dramatic. You've been asleep for an hour. Why didn't you wake me? Why would I? She studied me for a second, then pulled the blanket around herself. You're too nice. I steal your laundry detergent. I knew it. I don't. Too late. Trust broken. She went back to watching the movie. Her feet stayed where they were. Then came the cabinet war. It started because I didn't answer her texts for 4 hours. I was helping Mason move a workbench into his garage. My phone was in my car. When I finally checked it, Mara. Are you coming home for dinner? Mara. Ryan? Mara. I'm ordering food. Mara. You alive? Mara. Fine. I got home around 9, walked into the kitchen. Every cabinet door was open. Every single one. Even the tiny one above the refrigerator that nobody used because it contained exactly one cake pan and a bottle opener shaped like Florida. Mara sat on the couch reading. I stood in the kitchen. Mara. Yeah? Why does the kitchen look haunted? No idea. You did this. Prove it. I closed one cabinet, opened another to put away my keys. She looked over. You could have answered. My phone was in the car. I figured. You were worried? No. All the cabinets are open. Unrelated. I walked into the living room. She kept reading. You missed me. I wanted to know if I should order enough food. You texted, you alive? Food related. I sat beside her. She turned a page. I waited. Finally, she glanced at me. What? I'm touched. Go close your cabinets. There are cabinets. Not anymore. From that point forward, an open cabinet became Mara's official method of expressing mild displeasure. Forgot to buy milk? 1 cabinet. Used the last clean towel? 2. Ate the leftovers she was saving? All upper cabinets. I once came home 20 minutes later than expected after telling her I'd bring tacos. Every cabinet, refrigerator, microwave, even the dishwasher. I walked into her room. She was at her desk wearing headphones. I tapped her shoulder. She turned. You opened the dishwasher? You said 7. It's 7:20. My tacos were held hostage. They're downstairs. She took off the headphones. You brought them? I came upstairs first because I needed to appreciate the installation. Go get my food. Close the microwave. No. Then starve. She stood immediately. Don't be childish. I loved living with her. That realization arrived before I was ready to deal with what it meant. It wasn't just attraction anymore. My day felt better when Mara was in it. If something funny happened at work, she was the person I wanted to tell. If she worked late, I noticed. If I was buying groceries and saw those ridiculous sour candies she liked, they ended up in the cart without thought. She did the same things. My favorite coffee started appearing in the pantry. When I got sick, she came home with medicine, soup, and absolutely no sympathy. She put the bag on my nightstand. You look awful. Thank you. Your hair is doing something illegal. I have a fever. Not an excuse. You brought soup. It was on sale. And medicine. Also on sale. And orange juice. She crossed her arms. Do you want me to take it back? No. Then stop investigating. She checked my forehead with the back of her hand before leaving. I caught her wrist. Thanks. Her expression changed for half a second, softer. Yeah. Then, don't die. Finding another roommate would be annoying. There she was. The problem was, I had no idea whether Mara felt the same way I did. Mason did. According to Mason, everyone did. We were at a bar one night while Mara and Lily were playing darts. Mason leaned toward me. "You two sleeping together yet?" I nearly inhaled my drink. "No." "Why not?" "Because we're roommates." "So?" "So that can get messy." He looked toward Mara. She was laughing because Lily had completely missed the board. "Ryan." "What?" "She wears your clothes. She steals my clothes. She waits for you to get home. She lives there. She came to my barbecue because you were coming. She likes barbecue. She ate salad." I looked at him. "That is compelling." "Thank you." "Mara doesn't even like me like that." Mason stared at me, then looked at the ceiling. "What?" "I'm asking God for patience." "You don't believe in God." "This situation has changed me." Across the room, Mara caught me looking. She raised an eyebrow. I raised my glass. She gave me a tiny smile. Mason saw the entire thing. He slapped my shoulder. "Hopeless." I wasn't hopeless. I was cautious. There's a difference. And then Mara made caution extremely difficult. It was Mason's 27th birthday. He rented the back room of a bar because apparently becoming 27 required infrastructure. Mara came with me. She wore a black dress, not fancy, simple, short enough to cause several of my thoughts to become unusable. She came out of her room while I was tying my shoes. I looked up. She stopped. "What?" "Nothing." "That wasn't a nothing face. You look good." She glanced down at herself. "I look the same." "You definitely don't." Her eyes came back to mine. "Is that a complaint?" "No." "Good." Then she walked past me. Her perfume followed. I sat there for another 5 seconds. From the hallway. "Ryan?" "Yeah?" "Are we going?" "Working on it." The party was fun. Mara stayed near me more than usual. Not attached, just there. Her shoulder touching mine at the bar. Her hand catching my arm when she laughed. Little things I'd become far too aware of. At some point, Mason leaned between us. "You guys look married." Mara immediately said, "Ryan can't afford me." I said, "Correct. She eats half my groceries." "That's roommate tax." "You don't pay roommate tax." "I invented it." Mason looked between us. "I regret introducing alcohol to this conversation." "You didn't introduce anything," Mara said. "It's a bar." "See? Married." She kicked his shin. We got home after 1. Neither of us was drunk. Mara had switched to water hours earlier. I'd had 2 beers all night. But we were both in that loose, late-night mood, where going to bed feels less appealing than eating something terrible in the kitchen. I found frozen pizza. Mara sat on the counter while it cooked. Her boots were on the floor. She swung one bare foot. "You had fun." She looked at me. "Maybe." "You danced." "That wasn't dancing." "You and Lily were dancing." We were mocking Mason. With choreography. He deserved it. The oven timer went off. I pulled out the pizza. Mara immediately reached for it. "Hot." "I know." "You just burned yourself." "No." "You made a face." "That was unrelated." I cut the pizza. She took the largest piece. "Of course. I'm smaller than you. I need resources." "That's not how resources work." "It is now." We ate in the kitchen, at 2 in the morning. Her makeup was slightly smudged, hair messy from the bar. She looked more comfortable than she had when we first met, more open. I realized I couldn't remember the last time she'd spent an entire weekend alone in her room. She caught me staring. "What?" "Nothing." Again with that face. "What face?" "The one where you're thinking something and deciding whether to say it." "Maybe I'm thinking about pizza." "You look too serious for pizza." "Pizza deserves respect." She nudged my knee with hers. "Tell me." So I did. "You're different." Her expression shifted. "In a bad way?" "No." "Then how?" "When you moved in, you barely wanted to go anywhere." "I still barely want to go anywhere." "You spent 3 hours dancing tonight." Mocking Mason. "Right." She looked down at her pizza. "I guess." "What?" "Nothing." Again with that face. She looked at me. "I like being here." "In the kitchen?" "With you." There are sentences you can pretend you misunderstood. That wasn't one of them. I put my plate down. Mara immediately noticed. Her eyes narrowed a little. "What?" "Say that again." "No." Mara. "You heard me." "I did." "Then why would I repeat it?" Because I want to make sure I'm not about to make a terrible decision based on pizza fumes. Her lips curved. What terrible decision? I stepped closer. She didn't move. This one. I put a hand against the counter beside her. Her eyes flicked down to my mouth, then back up. You're very confident suddenly. You can tell me I'm wrong. I could. Are you going to? No. Good. I kissed her. For about half a second, my brain supplied one useful piece of information. Mara is kissing me back. Then it stopped contributing. Her hands caught the front of my shirt. I moved between her knees. She kissed me again, and whatever cautious roommate policy I'd been maintaining for months died right there beside a half-eaten frozen pizza. When we pulled apart, she looked at me. Well, you took your time. I stared at her. You knew? Ryan. What? I have been stealing your shirts for 6 months. You steal my food too. I assumed you had boundary issues. She laughed. You're an idiot. You could have said something. I just did. You said you liked being here. You figured it out. Eventually. Gold star. I kissed her again. She wrapped her arms around my neck, and sometime after that, the pizza went cold. We were close that night. No dramatic declaration. No relationship contract. Just two people who had been circling each other for months, finally admitting what everyone else apparently knew. The next morning, I woke up with Mara beside me. Her hair covered half my pillow. One of her legs was across mine. I lay there looking at the ceiling. Well, roommate situation successfully complicated. She moved, opened one eye. Why are you awake? It's my bed. Not what I asked. I'm processing. That sounds exhausting. She pulled the blanket higher. You staying? I live here. In this room. She opened the other eye. That depends. On? Do you snore? No. You do. You've never slept in here. Walls are thin. That's devastating. She closed her eyes again. I waited. Then, Mara. Last night. If you ask whether I regret it, I'm leaving. I wasn't. She opened her eyes. What were you asking? What happens now? She thought about it. Breakfast? I laughed. I mean us. I know. And? She rolled onto her back. I don't know. Okay? You don't know either. True. So breakfast. Strong plan. She looked at me. Ryan? Yeah? I don't regret it. Good. Do you? No. Good. Then she stole my pillow. Nothing changed. Everything changed. We still split rent, still argued about dishes, still watched horror movies, still went out with Mason and the others. Except now Mara kissed me in the kitchen, which made cooking significantly less efficient. The first time she did it, I was making eggs. She walked behind me, wrapped both arms around my waist, pressed her face against my back. I looked down. Hello? Hi. You need something? No. Then why are you attached to me? Cold. You own sweaters. Not warm enough. You're wearing one of mine. Exactly. I turned around. She looked up at me. You're blocking breakfast. You started this. Prove it. I kissed her. She smiled against my mouth. Then the eggs burned. She blamed me. 3 days later, her phone charger appeared beside my bed. Then shampoo appeared on my side of the shower. Then a stack of clothes appeared in my closet. I opened it one morning. Black skirt, black sweater, another black sweater, something black I couldn't identify. Mara, from the living room. What? Why is your wardrobe reproducing in my closet? Limited habitat. You have an entire closet. No space. I walked into her room, opened her closet. There was space, a lot of space. I looked back at her. She was standing in the doorway. That's not the point. What is the point? My stuff likes your closet. Your stuff told you? We communicate. I'm charging rent. Put it on my tab. We have a tab? Now we do. She walked away. I followed. Are we dating? She stopped, turned. That was abrupt. You've colonized my closet, and that requires a relationship status? I need to know which section of the lease to consult. She smiled. What do you want? You. Her smile disappeared for just a moment, not because she didn't like the answer, because Mara still wasn't used to people saying things that directly. Then she recovered. Terrible taste. I've been told. She stepped closer. I want you too. So we're dating, I guess. Very romantic. Do you need flowers? No. Good, they die. Please never write greeting cards. She kissed my cheek and went back to the couch. That was our official beginning. Mason found out 2 days later. We had people over for a movie. Mara was sitting beside me. Normal, nothing suspicious, until she reached over, took my hand, and started playing with my fingers while arguing with Lily about what movie to choose. Mason saw. His face changed. He looked at our hands, then at me, then Mara. No. Mara looked over. What? You finally did it? I sighed. Can you be normal? I have spent 6 months watching this man deny reality. Mara looked at me. 6? Mason has theories. I had eyes. Lily came in carrying drinks. What happened? They're dating. She stopped. Oh, finally. I looked around. Was there a meeting? Mason pointed at me. We had a group chat. Mara sat upright. There's a group chat about us? No, Lily said. Mason said, yes. Lily closed her eyes. Mason. What? They're together now. Mara held out her hand. Phone. No. Phone. He backed away. I value privacy. You just announced the group chat. Different issue. She chased him around the couch. I stayed seated. Lily handed me a drink. You happy? I looked at Mara trying to steal Mason's phone while he used the chair as a shield. Yeah. Good. Then she added, please never break up. Splitting the friend group would be annoying. Touching. We support you. Our first actual date happened because I realized we'd been dating for 3 weeks and had never gone anywhere alone that wasn't a grocery store. I told Mara to be ready Friday at 7. For what? Date. She looked confused. We live together. I know. We eat together. Also no. We watch movies together. Correct. What exactly does a date add? Pants that aren't sweatpants. She looked down at her black sweatpants. These are expensive. 7. Where? Not telling you. I hate surprises. You'll survive. At 6:58, she came out wearing a black skirt, boots, and a dark green top I'd never seen before. I stared. She caught me. There's the face. What face? The one from Mason's birthday. You look amazing. She adjusted one earring. I know. Confidence. Nice. You've been a bad influence. I took her to a little ramen place she'd mentioned months earlier. She stopped outside. You remembered? You talked about it for 10 minutes. That was in November. I have memory. Occasionally. We ate, walked downtown, got dessert. She complained that my ice cream choice was aggressively boring, and then ate half of it. At one point we passed a record store. She stopped, looked through the window. We have 20 minutes before they close, I said. We don't have to. You want to. She looked at me. You're doing that thing. What? Knowing what I want before I say it. Terrible habit. She took my hand. Yeah. We went inside. She spent 45 minutes looking through records. The employee had to remind us they were closing. On the walk home, she stayed close enough that our shoulders kept touching. At a crosswalk, she said, "This was nice. Careful." What? You're admitting enjoyment. Don't ruin it. I'll record the date. She squeezed my hand. Ryan. Yeah? Thanks. For ramen? For asking. That mattered more than she probably intended. Mara had spent a lot of time waiting to be asked, waiting to be included, waiting for somebody else to notice she wanted to be there. So I kept asking, and eventually, she stopped waiting. A month later, she walked into my room on Saturday morning and tossed my jacket at me. Get dressed. I caught it. Why? We're going out. Where? Farmer's market. I stared at her. You hate farmers markets. I've never been. You called them vegetable conventions. They are. Why are we going? She crossed her arms. Because you like them. That shut me up. She noticed. Don't make the face. What face? The emotional one. I don't have an emotional face. You absolutely do. I got dressed. She hated the farmer's market. She loved the cinnamon rolls. She bought a tiny cactus from an old woman, then named it Gerald. I asked why. He looks like a Gerald. Gerald lived on our kitchen windowsill. I was instructed not to touch him. 3 months into dating, Nora came over, Mara's older sister. I'd met her once briefly. This was the first time she stayed for dinner. Nora looked like Mara if somebody had adjusted the brightness settings. Brown hair instead of black, blue sweater, friendly smile, same eyes, same ability to insult you with perfect timing. She walked in, saw Mara wearing my hoodie, saw me cooking, looked at Mara. Oh my God. Mara immediately frowned. What? Nothing. You're doing a face. Ryan influence. Nora hugged her, then hugged me. I'm so happy to finally see the habitat. Please don't call it that. I've heard a lot. Mara froze. I barely talk to you. Nora looked at me. She talks about you constantly. I do not. You called me because Ryan bought the wrong coffee. That was relevant. You sent me a picture of him asleep on the couch. Mara's eyes widened. You said you deleted that. I lied. I turned to Mara. You photographed me sleeping? You looked stupid. Can I see it? No. Nora was delighted. Dinner went well. Mara went to the bathroom afterward. Nora helped me clear plates. She lowered her voice. Can I tell you something? Sure. She's different with you. I glanced toward the hallway. How? She used to disappear. What do you mean? Not literally. She'd come to family stuff, stay an hour, leave. You'd invite her somewhere, and she'd find a reason not to go. She likes people. She just gets in her own head. Yeah. Nora smiled. Now she sends me pictures from bowling. She's terrible at bowling. I know, she sent the score. Good. Evidence. Nora laughed. Then her expression softened. She's happy. I leaned against the counter. I'm happy too. Good. From the hallway. I can hear both of you. Nora's eyes widened. Mara appeared. Arms crossed. How long were you there? Nora asked. Long enough. I should go. Coward, I said. Absolutely. Nora grabbed her bag. Mara stared at her. I do not talk about him constantly. Nora opened the door. Sometimes you sleep. Then she escaped. I looked at Mara. She looked at me. Don't. You talk about me constantly. I'll open every cabinet. You wouldn't. She walked into the kitchen, opened one, then another. Mara. Third. Okay, point made. Fourth. I love you. She stopped. That was the first time I'd said it. Not planned, not prepared. It just came out because she was standing in our kitchen threatening me with cabinet doors. Her hand remained on one handle. She turned slowly. What? Well, no putting that one back. I love you. She stared at me. I could see the exact second her defenses tried to come up and couldn't find a reason. I walked closer. You don't have to say it because I said it. I know. Okay. She looked down, then up. I love you too. I smiled. She pointed at me. Don't. Don't what? Make this a whole thing. You just told me you love me. You started it. Fair. She closed the cabinet, then kissed me. And for the record, she closed all the others too. That's how I knew it was serious. Months passed. We got comfortable. Not lazy, comfortable. Mara had her own life. I had mine. She went out with Lily without me. I had nights with Mason. We both worked. We both had bad days. We argued occasionally, mostly about normal things. Laundry, money, whose turn it was to clean the bathroom. The fact that Mara believed putting the trash bag near the door counted as taking out the trash. It's staged. For what? Removal. By who? You. Why me? You're stronger. You carried a dresser upstairs by yourself. Adrenaline. It was last month. Long-lasting adrenaline. But there was no question anymore. We were a team. Which brings us back to the pregnancy test. Saturday morning. Tea going cold. Mara's hand in mine. I called a clinic when they opened. Appointment Monday. Mara took another test that afternoon. Also positive. She came out of the bathroom, held it up. Well, maybe we should stop buying these. I wanted confirmation. 2 plastic oracles agree. Stop calling them that. Never. That weekend was weird. We didn't tell anyone. Not yet. We went grocery shopping. Bought toilet paper, dish soap, bread, bananas. Normal things. Except every few minutes I'd look at Mara and remember there might be a person growing inside her. At one point she caught me staring in the cereal aisle. What? Nothing. You're doing it again. Sorry. You've looked at me like that 12 times today. This is new. I know. You okay? She considered it. Ask me again in 5 minutes. Deal. At checkout, a toddler in the next lane was screaming because his mother wouldn't let him lick the conveyor belt. Mara watched him, then looked at me. We're doomed. Maybe ours won't lick industrial surfaces. The toddler immediately tried again. Mara pointed. That feels genetic. Whose? Yours. Monday confirmed it. Pregnant. About 6 weeks. We sat in the car afterward. Neither of us spoke for a minute. Mara held the paperwork in her lap. I started the engine. Didn't move. Finally, she said, "So that's real." "Yeah." She nodded, then nodded again. "What are you thinking?" I asked. "That I'm 23. "Yeah." "That our apartment has 1 bathroom." "True." "That Gerald is probably poisonous." I looked at her. "The cactus? We have to baby-proof. We have approximately 7 months before the baby starts fighting Gerald. You don't know our child." "Fair." She looked down at the paperwork. I want it. There it was. Quiet. Direct. I turned toward her. "Okay." Her eyes met mine. "I know we haven't talked about all of it yet. Money and work and space and everything. But I want this baby." "Okay." "You can say more than okay. I want the baby too." She breathed out. Not dramatically. Just like she'd been holding that breath since Saturday. "You do?" "Yeah." "You're not saying that because I said it?" "No." "How do you know?" "Because I've been thinking about it for 2 days." And I'm terrified." "Good start." "And our apartment is too small." "Yep." "And babies are expensive." "Very." "And Mason is going to teach it profanity." "Absolutely." She smiled. I took her hand. "And I still want it." Her fingers tightened around mine. "Okay. Now you can say more than okay." She leaned across the console and kissed me. "We told Mason first." Mostly because keeping information from Mason required operational security we didn't possess. He came over Wednesday with takeout, dropped the bags on the table. "Why are you both looking at me?" "We always look at you," I said. "No, this is coordinated." Mara sat on the couch. "Sit down." Mason immediately looked worried. "Did someone die?" "No." "Are you moving?" "Probably." "What?" "Sit." He sat. I looked at Mara. She looked at me, then at Mason. "I'm pregnant." Mason stared. No reaction, just stared. Then, "With a baby?" Mara looked at me. I expected better. I shrugged. "He's under pressure." Mason pointed at her. "You're pregnant?" "Yes." Then at me. "You?" "Not personally. You know what I mean." "I do." He stood, sat back down. "Holy crap." "Accurate. You're having a kid?" "That's generally the direction." He rubbed both hands over his face, then stood again and hugged me. Hard. "Dude." "Yeah." Then he hugged Mara. She stiffened for half a second before hugging him back. He stepped away. "I'm going to be Uncle Mason." "No," Mara said immediately. "What?" "No." "You can't stop me." "I absolutely can. I've already claimed it." "You are not teaching my child anything." "Our child," I said. She pointed at me. "Stay out of this." Mason grinned. "This is going to be incredible." "You're why I'm afraid," Nora cried. Mara hated that. Not because Nora was upset, because Nora's crying made Mara cry, and Mara considered public crying a security breach. We went to Nora's place Sunday. Mara handed her the ultrasound printout. Nora looked down, looked up, looked down again. Then her eyes filled. "No." Mara immediately said, "Don't." "Oh my God." "Nora, you're pregnant." "Yes, please control yourself." Nora hugged her. Mara lasted 4 seconds, then started crying too. I stood near the kitchen holding my coffee and making the wise decision not to comment. Nora looked at me over Mara's shoulder. "You did this. Apparently I'm receiving full credit." Mara laughed into her sister's shoulder. By the end of that week, Nora had bought baby socks. Not normal socks, tiny black socks with little white bats. Mara held them in our kitchen. The baby is the size of a blueberry. Fashion starts early. It doesn't have feet, probably developing them. She bought 6 pairs. They're cute. Mara looked at me. "You're part of the problem." I took one. It barely covered 2 of my fingers. Okay, that's ridiculous. See? I want 20. Ryan. Our friends found out over the next couple of weeks. Lily screamed. Mason told everyone he had known we'd end up together. I reminded him that predicting 2 roommates who obviously liked each other might date did not make him Nostradamus. He disagreed. Then came the practical part. Money, insurance, appointments, work schedules, childcare, the apartment. Our second bedroom was Mara's room technically, but by then it had become half office, half storage. We could convert it, but our lease was up in 4 months. We decided to look for somewhere slightly bigger. Apartment hunting while expecting a baby is an excellent way to discover how creatively real estate listings use the word spacious. The first place had natural character. Natural character meant the bedroom floor sloped toward the window. Mara stood in the middle of it. If we put the crib here, the baby can roll to college. The agent didn't laugh. We did not get that apartment. The second had a nursery nook. The nursery nook was a closet with a window. Mara stepped inside. I stood in the doorway. She stretched both arms, touched both walls. If the baby is a hamster, we're set. The agent said, "Many young couples appreciate efficient space." Mara looked at me. "We should leave before I become rude." "You're already making the face." "What face?" "The one before you become rude." Good call. Third place was beautiful. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, balcony, new appliances. Then we saw the rent. I looked at Mara. Mara looked at me. "We could sell the baby," she said. The agent's eyes widened. "Joke," I said. Mara shrugged. "Mostly." We found the right place 2 weeks later. Nothing fancy. 2 decent bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, bigger kitchen, small fenced patio, a park 5 minutes away. Mara stood in what would become the nursery. Sunlight came through the window. She walked around slowly. I stayed near the door. "What do you think?" She looked at me. "I can see us here." That was enough. We signed. Moving day happened when Mara was around 4 months pregnant, which meant everyone treated her like she was made of glass. She hated it. Nora took a box from her. "I can carry that." "I know." "Then give it back." "No. It has pillows." "Still," Mara looked at me. "Tell her." I picked up another box. "I'm staying out of sister politics." "Coward." Mason walked past carrying a lamp. "Doctor said no heavy lifting." "This isn't heavy," Nora said. "Thank you." Mara pointed at Mason. "Traitor." He looked at me. "She's scary pregnant. She was scary before." Good point. I had labeled the boxes. Kitchen, books, bathroom, Ryan clothes. Then, Mara's definitely not stolen hoodies. She found it. "Ryan." I was carrying a chair. "Yeah?" She held up the box. "What is this?" "Accurate inventory." She grabbed a marker, crossed out definitely not stolen, wrote legally acquired property, then added do not touch. "Those are my hoodies." "Were." Mason walked between us. "I love that you're about to raise a human." The new apartment became home faster than I expected. Gerald got the kitchen window. Mara got most of the closet, despite claiming she wouldn't. I assembled the crib with Mason. That sentence makes it sound easier than it was. The instructions had 12 diagrams and almost no words. Mason held up 2 identical-looking screws. "Which one?" "B." "This says F." "That's the bag." "The screw says nothing." "Use B." "How do you know?" "I don't." Mara appeared in the doorway eating apple slices. "You two have been doing this for 90 minutes. Quality takes time." "The crib is upside down." We both looked at it. Mason. "No, it isn't." Mara pointed. We looked again. It was upside down. Mason nodded. "Design flaw." She walked away. "Call me when the baby graduates." Pregnancy suited Mara in ways she refused to admit. She complained about everything. Her back, her clothes, people touching her belly without asking. The fact that strangers suddenly believed they were licensed obstetricians. One woman at a grocery store told her she was carrying high. Mara waited until we were 3 aisles away. What does that even mean? I don't know. She looked at me for 4 seconds. Maybe she has powers. If she had powers, she'd know not to comment. But Mara also started doing things I'd never seen her do. She'd stand in the nursery doorway. Just look. Sometimes she'd rest her hand on her stomach without noticing. At 20 weeks, we found out we were having a girl. Mara looked at the screen, then at me. "A girl?" "Yeah. You're outnumbered." I already was. True. In the parking lot afterward, I caught her smiling at the ultrasound picture. You're doing a face. She looked at me. What face? The emotional one. I don't have one. You absolutely do. Your influence is becoming unbearable. She tucked the picture carefully into her bag. We argued about names for 6 weeks. Mara suggested names that sounded like members of Victorian families with dark secrets. Lenore. No. Why? Our daughter will come out owing a haunted mansion. That's not a reason. Raven. She stared at me. Absolutely not. You're the goth one. Exactly why I know better. I suggested Emily. She said we knew 3 Emilys. I suggested Claire. She knew 2. She suggested Violet. I actually liked Violet. She immediately became suspicious. You said yes too fast. It's a good name. What's wrong with it? Nothing. Then why do you like it? Because it's good. She narrowed her eyes. We kept Violet on the list. The hardest part came one night around the beginning of the 3rd trimester. I woke up at 2:17. Mara wasn't asleep. She was on her back, staring at the ceiling. I rolled toward her. You okay? Yeah. I waited. She looked over. What? You're awake. So are you. Because you're awake. That sounds codependent. Probably. She looked back at the ceiling. I reached over and rested my hand on her stomach. Our daughter kicked almost immediately. I smiled. Mara didn't. What's going on? She rubbed her ring. There was that habit again. I don't know. Try. She took a breath. What if I'm bad at this? At sleeping? Ryan. Sorry. She looked at me. Being a mom. I didn't answer immediately. Not because I didn't know what to say. Because I didn't want to give her some polished line she wouldn't believe. Why do you think you would be? I don't know what I'm doing. Neither do I. You're better with people. Babies aren't networking events. You know what I mean. Yeah. She looked down at my hand. I spent years avoiding people because it was easier. What if I do that when things get hard? You won't. How do you know? Because you don't do it anymore. Her eyes came back to mine. You still disappear into your room sometimes. You still hate parties after 3 hours. You still need a day alone after Nora makes you attend family stuff. She makes brunch last 5 hours. Criminal. Exactly. But none of that means you abandon people. She was quiet for a moment. Then, what if you wake up one day and decide this is too much? There it was. Not really about motherhood. About me. Mara. I know. I know you haven't given me any reason to think that. Then where did it come from? My head. Your head's an asshole. She laughed once. Very supportive. I'm serious. You want to know what my head does? What? Every appointment, I think something could be wrong. Every time you say your stomach hurts, I think something could be wrong. When you didn't answer your phone yesterday, I nearly called you 3 times. You did call me 3 times. Exactly. You said it was about groceries. I lied. That finally got a smile. I moved closer. I'm scared too. You don't act like it. Because one of us has to remember where we parked. She rolled her eyes. I squeezed her hand. But I'm here. I know. And if your head comes up with another reason I'm secretly planning to run away, tell me. So you can call it an asshole? Among other therapeutic techniques. Very advanced. I've read 3 articles. God help us. She moved closer until her forehead touched my shoulder. A few minutes later, she fell asleep. I didn't. Our daughter kept kicking my hand. I lay there thinking about the first day Mara walked into my apartment with 3 boxes and enough emotional distance to qualify as another zip code. Now she was asleep beside me. Her clothes filled half my closet. Her cactus was in my kitchen. Her sister texted me memes. Our friends treated us like a package deal, and there was a baby kicking my palm. Life gets weird fast. The baby shower was Mason's idea. This should have disqualified it immediately. Mara didn't want one. I don't want 30 people measuring my stomach and playing games involving diapers. Reasonable. No melted chocolate in diapers. Agreed. No guessing my weight. Who does that? People without survival instincts. So Mason promised something small. 10 people. Food. No games. No touching Mara without permission. We arrived at his place and found a banner over the living room. Player 3 joining. Mara stopped. Looked at it. Then at Mason. He raised both hands. I kept it tasteful. She looked around. No pink explosion. No giant balloon arch. Just friends, food, a few gifts, and a cake with the same stupid phrase. She nodded. You may live. Mason looked at me. High praise. For 3 hours, Mara was surrounded by people. Nora, Lily, Mason, friends she'd once only known as Ryan's people. Now they were hers too. She laughed, opened gifts, threatened Mason when he gave us a tiny black onesie that said, tax dependent. At one point I stood in the kitchen getting water. Mara was across the room, talking to Lily and Nora. She looked over, found me immediately, smiled. Not big, didn't need to be. Later that night we got home with a car full of baby stuff. We sat on the living room floor surrounded by bags. Mara held a tiny pair of pajamas. She ran her thumb over the fabric. You know what's weird? Everything currently. When I first moved in with you, I thought you'd ask me to leave. I looked at her. What? Not immediately. Good. But eventually. Why? She shrugged. I thought I'd annoy you. You did. She hit me with the pajamas. Continue. You thought I'd kick you out because you were annoying? I don't know. I wasn't used to living with someone I actually liked. That's sweet in a concerning way, she smiled. I kept thinking I should find another place before you got tired of me. I had no idea. I know. When did that stop? She thought. Maybe the cabinet thing. The first cabinet thing. Yeah. You opened every door in the kitchen because I didn't text you. And you came home and laughed. I called you a psychopath. Affectionately. Obviously. She looked around our living room, at the gifts, at the crib visible through the nursery door, then down at her stomach. I don't feel like that anymore. Like what? Like I should keep one foot out the door. I leaned against the couch. She looked at me. I don't feel alone anymore. That one got me. Not because it was dramatic. Mara didn't say things for drama. She said them when she'd finally decided they were true. I reached for her hand. She gave it to me. Good. That's it? What do you want? I don't know. I can make a speech. Please don't. Thought so. She leaned into me. I kissed the top of her head. Then she held up the tiny pajamas. These are ugly. They have ducks. Exactly. Nora bought them. Of course. Baby can wear them when Nora visits. Excellent. Violet arrived 11 weeks later. Yes, we picked Violet. Mara eventually decided my immediate approval had not been evidence of a conspiracy. Labor was long, exhausting, scary, and several moments I don't need to turn into entertainment. I stayed with Mara. She insulted me twice, the hospital bed once, a nurse accidentally, then apologized to the nurse and not me. Fair. And then suddenly, there was a baby. Our baby. Tiny, red-faced, angry about existing. The nurse placed her against Mara. Mara looked down at her. I had seen Mara happy. I had seen her furious, embarrassed, tired, in love. I'd never seen that expression. She touched Violet's cheek with one finger. Hi. Her voice cracked. I stood beside the bed. Mara looked at me. She's here. Yeah. She has your nose. Poor kid. Mara laughed and cried at the same time. Then she held out her hand. I took it. Violet wrapped one tiny hand around Mara's finger. That was it. I was done. Whatever part of me had thought I understood how much I could love two people had been working with outdated information. 3 months later, I was walking around our living room at 3:08 in the morning with Violet against my chest. She had decided sleep was propaganda. I had tried rocking, walking, singing. I learned very quickly that I knew approximately 7 words to every lullaby. So Violet had spent 10 minutes listening to a soft acoustic version of a commercial jingle from my childhood. It was working, mostly. Mara appeared in the hallway, oversized black t-shirt, hair tied badly behind her head, eyes half open. She still awake? No, this is recreational walking. She came closer. Violet made a tiny noise. Mara looked down. She has your sleep schedule. I slept perfectly before you. You snored. I did not. The walls were thin. You chose to stay. She leaned against me. I did. We stood there for a moment. Violet finally settled. Mara touched the back of her tiny head. Remember when I said I'd only need that room for maybe a year? Yeah. I really messed that up. Completely. Sorry. Unforgivable. She smiled, then looked around the apartment. Gerald sat on the kitchen windowsill, safely relocated above future toddler height. One cabinet door was open. I noticed it. Mara. What? Why is that open? She followed my eyes. No idea. You were mad because I forgot to buy oat milk. Unrelated. You haven't changed at all. I had a baby. That's enough change. Fair. She rested her head against my shoulder. Violet slept between us. And that was basically how I got here. I needed someone to split rent. Mara needed somewhere to live. That was the arrangement. Very practical. Very adult. Then she started stealing potatoes. Then my hoodies. Then my side of the couch. Then half my closet. Somewhere in there, I got used to coming home and seeing her. She got used to being asked to come with me. We fell in love. We were extremely responsible one night, except for the part where, months later, 2 pink lines informed us that apparently we hadn't been responsible enough. Now I have a goth girlfriend, a daughter who considers 3 in the morning a perfectly acceptable social hour, a cactus named Gerald that I'm still forbidden to touch, and a kitchen where cabinet doors mysteriously open whenever Mara is annoyed with me. She still claims those things aren't connected. She's lying. And the woman who once moved in with 3 boxes because she wanted to be able to leave easily now texts me if I'm 10 minutes late coming home with groceries. Last week I reminded her of that. She looked at Violet asleep on my chest, then at me. Maybe I got attached. Maybe? Don't push it. I didn't. I've learned. Mostly. Still want my gray pizza shirt back, though.
Two pink lines, 6:43. Bare feet on the kitchen floor. You looked at me like somewhere on that little test. There should have been instructions for us. You said, Ryan, I'm freaking out. I said, me too. You said, you don't look like it. I said, I'm having 17 emergencies, and one of them is car seats. You laughed, and somehow that was where forever started. But before the baby, before the names, before the crib we built upside down, you showed up at my apartment, 3 boxes, black boots, and your guard all the way up. You said you needed a room, I needed half the rent. That was supposed to be the whole arrangement. Then you stole a potato, then another from my plate. Said you weren't hungry while you ate half of what I made. Started waiting by the doorway when I went out with my friends, never asking to come with me, so I learned to ask instead. You always packed light, like staying was dangerous, like love in a place too much could make losing it hurt. And I didn't know then what I know you were waiting for. Someone to say, come with me, and mean it every time. You don't need 1 foot out the door. You don't need your boxes packed anymore. Take my hoodie, take my closet, leave your records on the floor. Steal my dinner, steal my pillow. Leave every kitchen cabinet open when you're sore. You spent your whole life ready to leave. Baby, you don't have to leave anymore. 'Cause somewhere between roommates and forever, you became what I come home for. You fell asleep across my couch, feet resting against my side. I stayed there an extra hour, 'cause waking you didn't feel right. Then came that night, 2 in the morning, cold pizza sitting between us. You said, I like being here, I asked. In the kitchen, you looked right at me. With you, and every careful rule I'd made lasted maybe half a breath. I kissed you by the counter, you pulled me closer instead, then looked at me and smiled. You took your time, yeah. Apparently everybody knew except me. Soon your charger found my bedroom, your clothes found half my space. You asked if we were dating, I said, what do you want? You said, you. And God, I still remember your face. So you don't need 1 foot out the door. We don't keep our boxes packed anymore. Your black dresses fill the closet, tiny bad socks fill the drawer. There's a crib inside the bedroom, and Gerald sitting safely by the window. There's a little girl between us now, who doesn't know what sleeping's for. You spent your whole life ready to leave. Baby, look at what you're staying for. Somewhere between roommates and forever, we built something worth coming home for. 3 boxes became 2 bedrooms. 1 roommate became my girl. 2 pink lines became violet, and somehow changed my whole world. You used to wonder when I'd leave you. Now you text when I'm 10 minutes late. Guess somewhere along the way, we both stopped calling this place temporary. 3 in the morning, Violet asleep against my chest. You're standing beside me in that oversized black t-shirt. 1 cabinet door is open. I look at you, oat milk? Unrelated. I laugh. You rest your head against my shoulder, and I think about the girl who arrived with everything ready to leave. Now your clothes are in my closet, your cactus is in our window, your daughter is in my arms, and your hand is holding mine. You said, maybe I got attached. Yeah, me too. And you don't need 1 foot out the door anymore.